everybody? Welcome to the Money in the Bank prediction show. There he is. There's Andy. We might be joined by Zayn at some point as well, but as you all know, if you've watched our show before, his internet is the shits. So he might join us. He might not. If anything, we'll probably get him in the chat. But besides all that, glad to have you back, Andy. Good to have you here, Nick. How you guys doing today?
Yeah, pretty good. Decent Saturday, except for the weather, which has been shite. But it's England, so I'm used to the rain.
Yeah. Apologies about my technology. I'm trying to work on a mobile phone because my internet is... because Samsung got a piece of shit who can't send out the laptop properly.
Zayn's in chat.
We have Zayn in chat, so I'll get his predictions in as fast as I can. Or if I just don't like him, I just will ignore it because that's what we tend to do with Zayn here. But Money in the Bank. I'm excited for this show. I like the Money in the Bank matches, though. I think we have 6 matches on this card. Let me pull this up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 matches. So they're going with the short card again. It's worked wonders the past 2 shows, so I'm not going to complain. Excitement level 1 to 10. How are you guys feeling for the show?
I'm really looking forward to it. I'd say about a 7, 7.5 on the excitement level. Like you, I really like the Money in the Bank matches themselves. I like the fact that it's a smaller card because it means they're going to give each match a decent amount of time, which I love on a pay-per-view. Like you said, it seems to be they're going down the track of making the pay-per-views about the wrestling now, and the TV shows about all the entertainment. So, yeah, I'm happy. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for it. I mean, the one thing I'll say is, for me, I don't know how anybody else sees this, but I always see Money in the Bank as the start of the new season.
Yeah.
So it's like the kickoff point for me because I feel like we get WrestleMania, which is the end. And I know everyone always says the Raw after Mania is the start, but if you look at like WrestleMania Backlash and stuff like the Hell in a Cell, I feel like they're just a continuation of the blow-off from WrestleMania. I feel like Money in the Bank is where we really start the season again, and then we go into SummerSlam and whatnot. Do you get what I mean, Jim?
Yeah, absolutely, because you got the briefcase, which basically starts the excitement for the next step of what they're going through with. So that makes perfect sense there. And just to kind of touch on what Nick was saying, the shows are more entertainment-based, the pay-per-views are more wrestling-based, and it goes back to what we were talking about last podcast, less is more. Don't give us a bunch of wrestling on the shows. Save it for the big shows so that it's like, wow, this is really cool, as opposed to just being burnt out on it.
Exactly.
Saying here before we get into the predictions, Andy, you sound like my grandpa. Well, I will have to say your grandpa must be an amazing man if he sounds like
wise human being.
A wise.
Importantly, does that mean you're Scouse, Zayn? Doesn't that mean Zayn is partially Scouse?
We don't know anything about Zayn other than he's got a lot of hair and shitty internet. But
and he's a virgin. He's a virgin.
Yeah, that too.
But before we go any further on the Zayn hate train, let's just go ahead and jump into the card. I'm just going to go based off of WWE's website here. I'm going to start at the bottom, work our way up, and then we can touch on them there. That's a really terrible place to take this.
Thanks, Zayn.
But anyway, first match on the card, we got Theory taking on Bobby Lashley for the United States Championship. That will make 2 pay-per-views in a row in which the United States title, a mid-card, has been, I will say, heavily pushed for the big show. So do you think that has more to do with Austin Theory Theory? I apologize. Do you think that has more to do with Theory holding the title, Andy, or do you think it's because they're really trying to bring back some relevance to those mid-carders?
No, so I think it's definitely to do with Theory, and I think, it is US title reigns being good so far. I feel like Theory is the first one that we've had in a long time that is using a mid-card title for what it should be. And that's to elevate the talent and to kind of, I always say it, and we look back to like SummerSlam 91, when Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect, and it was Bret Hart's first title, and it sent him on his way, and obviously we know what happens after that. 92 we had Bret Hart, 92 to 93 we had Shawn Michaels getting that belt in the Intercontinental belt. And I think like the US title is being used in that way. I think that the pick of opponents is a brilliant opponent for Theory. I think that it really, really is. Bobby Lashley's a credible threat to him. He's been champion not long ago. If Theory gets the win here, it elevates him again. And it's just nice slowly booking Theory and slowly getting him into the conversation of, well, he can hang with these guys.
Yeah, as you said, Bobby Lashley is kind of a brilliant opponent because if you look at his year he has a win over Brock Lesnar. He won a feud over Omos, who's their big giant now that they want to push hard. Bobby Lashley has some recent victories here that would really tell a lot about Theory if he's able to go over on Lashley at a show like SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Now, to just kind of touch more on what I was saying, it seems like they were trying to do something similar like this with Damian Priest, who held the title before Theory. So I guess just to kind of touch on it a little more, Nick, do you think, because I personally think they've been trying to do something with the United States title since Priest, and that's why, because I think he had a decent run, it just didn't work as well as Theory. So do you think that bodes well for, I know we all see him being pushed to the moon. Sometimes these guys fall flat on their face, though. It hasn't happened with Theory yet, so do you think that bodes well for him going on?
I think it behooves him in the general long run. Theory, above anyone else that's held the US title in the last few years, is a solid worker. He's a very well-rounded performer. He can talk, he can wrestle, he's very entertaining when he wants to be, and he's got his gimmick down pat. The fact that they're actually pushing him with the US title now, I do agree that some of that is because it's Theory, because obviously they've struck the rocket to him recently.
Yeah.
But I've got a feeling they're trying to bring that title back into a bit of prominence. The US title used to mean a lot in this business. Like, if you go back to WCW, you won the US title, you were the number one contender for the World Championship. It was used very, very prevalently.
You look back at Cena, that was the first major title he won, and it set him off for the races.
Yeah, exactly. And you look at the work Cena did with the US title later in his career, the US Open Challenge, he brought a lot of credibility back to it again, and I'm hoping that's what they're going to do with Theory. I mean, I see him beating Bobby, just to skip ahead slightly, tonight, just because it will solidify the guy on the marketplace. I don't see him beating Bobby clean. I think there'll be some kind of shenanigans, but I think it's going to do a lot for Theory in the long run, and I think he's going to do a lot for that US title.
Yeah, just a touch on Zayn. He thinks Cena interrupts and Lashley wins. WWE India just announced Lashley will be in India from July 7th to 9th. They'd want a title on for that, I suppose. I don't see where Cena interfering. I don't think that fits in with the Cena character at all. It's just not something John Cena would do. Hi. just to get the comments out of the way. So with the match, do either of us or any of us see Bobby Lashley walking out with the United States Championship?
No.
No chance.
No.
Not at all. So we're all agree. This is just a clean sweep. Don't need to go back over it. Theory comes out United States champion heading into SummerSlam.
Agreed.
Which is the way I think it should be. He should have a lengthy run. The longer he has that title, the longer he's away from the main event scene, and you don't want to rush him there. So give him a lengthy run.
Yeah.
Next up on the card, it will be a Undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship match. So I guess they're officially together. That's how they're going to go moving forward. Do you see them getting away from having both sets of titles since now they're being presented to us as the Undisputed Tag Team Championships, Nick?
No. In the long run. I've never been a huge fan of the brand split, but from a financial and network standpoint, I understand why it exists. Each network wants their own champion, they want a certain amount of representation on each show. But the tag division, for a very long period of time now, has been an afterthought in WWE. It's very small, there are hardly any teams, at least credible teams, that can go after the belts. So keeping them as a combined title, I think gives everybody a fair shot at the champs, because that division's tiny, and I don't think it can support two championships anymore.
Yeah, so you see them getting away from having both of them. You just have them.
Yes, I can see it just keeping the one title from now on.
Okay, and do you think they'll treat it like kind of how the women's tag titles were treated when they first debuted them, how they cross-branded them. Go to Raw, go to NXT, go to SmackDown. Obviously, NXT is completely out of this. Is that how you see them moving forward with the whole tag team division, Andy?
I don't know. I mean, I think Nick makes a good point about the fact that when the TV executives want their own champions and stuff like that. But also, I think if you take the belts off the Usos and where's the relevance of having an undisputed tag team champion then?
That's true. That's true.
You know, at the moment, it fits in perfectly with the bloodline story and stuff like that. Now, once they lose them titles or even lose one of them, then, you know, it becomes irrelevant then, because I don't feel like if, you know, what's the benefit of the Street Profits being undisputed tag team champions? The whole reason the Usos are is because the bloodline are taking over, yada yada. But for another tag team, there's not really no benefit to it.
Yeah, but I guess to touch on the women's tag team titles, just it seems like they've just I'm not going to say they scrapped them but it seems like they have no effort to get them back on screen, and you would have to think that has to do with the fact there's literally no tag division for them. And when you look at Raw and SmackDown tag teams, if you bunched them all together, you barely have enough for one tag team division as it is.
Yep.
Separating them, you don't have two.
But that's irrelevant to WWE because they'll just throw people together like they always do.
He's got a point.
That's fair.
He's got a point.
But even with that, it just seems like they're lacking in the tag division, because we had RK Bro as like the best tag team they had, and even with them, you still only had like 5 tag teams total.
Yeah, that was it.
2 shows. So almost half of your tag teams are champions, and it kind of makes it seem watered down when like everybody's a champion. We have the Viking Raiders, Street Profits, Usos, Alpha Academy, RK Bros no longer a thing. Dirty Dog, Los Lotharios, New Day. That's one good tag division. That's a good tag division.
Also Sheamus is the Gang of New Sheamus.
Yeah. You could pair them in there.
You know, you've got you could have Walter and his man Imperium.
Yeah. If he wasn't IC, I don't want to see him do it with the IC title. But there's things they could do.
Yeah.
I've been.
You know, and let's not forget as well, Jim. You've got a lot of people that are just floating around backstage that aren't getting on TV at the moment and stuff, where they could go, okay, let's lash them in a tag team together and get them back. So there's things you can do with that. I think with the women's division, unfortunately, the actual women's division in terms of the main championship is slim. You know, for me, there's not a lot. You've got Natalya challenging Ronda Rousey for a reason.
I'll get to that one on the next match. I have some stuff on that one, but
yeah,
it just seems like they don't really care too much about the tag division to begin with. I think that's been a thing for a while. I think you've had certain tag teams that come around that kind of made it feel more important than it was. But I think that's more along the lines of the work New Day was doing as opposed to WWE investing in the tag team division. I think New Day did more for the tag team division than WWE did in the past 5 years.
I think WWE invests more in the men's tag team division than they ever have in the women's one, and that's my opinion.
For sure, 100%. But at the same time, I don't think they invest much time in the tag team division in general. So if they were able to get it into
common knowledge that Vince McMahon believes tag team wrestling is there to create a single star.
Yeah. So if you had one division, I think it could help, I guess, make them feel more important while also making it more exciting. Because again,
the thing that I'll ask you though, Jim, is if you're on a contract and you're a wrestler, and you're not the main champion, you're the tag team champion, and you've got challenges on from both shows, and you're having to work double dates on the 2 shows for the same money as what somebody else is working on one show, would that not become an issue at some point?
If you booked it properly, and again, that's just completely up to WWE. I'm not here to say they're going to book it bad or they're going to book it perfectly. I think there's ways around it. Whereas if your challengers are the New Day on SmackDown, that's the show you're predominantly on while that feud is happening. And then once that's over, you move over to Raw, and now the Street Profits are your challengers. So now you're predominantly on that show. You move back and forth, but you're not there every week doing the double schedule.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're champions, put in the work. That's just, I don't know. But we have the match. I think it's a good match. I know we've seen it quite a bit, but it is the Street Profits, it's the Usos. They're just two tag teams, I think, that are always going to knock it out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
Do either of you see the Street Profits coming out of this with the tag titles?
Yes.
You.
Andy says yes. I would love to hear this.
Okay, so I don't know whether it'll be tomorrow because we've got when SummerSlam the end of August.
Yeah.
No, I think it's the end of July.
Is it?
Right. Okay. So
Yeah,
I'll take that back then. Not yet, but I feel like maybe if they did do it now, then what will happen at some point is they will lose the Undisputed Tag Team Championships because one thing WWE was really good with in the start of the whole Bloodline and Roman and whatnot was whenever there was he bullied Jay or he bullied Jimmy or whatever he was doing with them two, keeping them in line and whatnot. And then whenever a credible opponent come over, like John Cena did, he went over and took care of the business. Then he come back and dealt with them again. So we had these two sub-storylines, the actual inside the bloodline and then the domination of the bloodline. And I feel like at some point, whether it's now or whether it's in the next month or two, there'll come a point where Roman won't have this credible challenger for whenever it is coming up. So they'll go back to the bloodline storyline. And if the Usos leave the belt, then, you can do 4 or 5 weeks of television of Roman punishing them for losing the belt and disgracing the family and whatnot.
Yeah.
I see that.
So you see them, Street Profits taking them, just not at Money in the Bank tomorrow night?
I don't know because it's only 4 weeks away and I assume we're going to have Roman Reigns as the main event at SummerSlam. So thinking that it's only 4, I thought it was at the end of August, which it normally was historically, wasn't it? Which is about 6-7 weeks away. But if it's only like 4 weeks away, I don't see them taking it at this point.
I think with Clash of the Castle being kind of pushed into their calendar, they moved it up a month just to get it kind of like still in the summertime as opposed to at the end of the summertime.
Yeah.
Interesting though. And if Roman Reigns is not in the main event at SummerSlam, I think WWE is going to have a real problem on their hands with the fans. I think a riot will ensue on that one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Roman's at SummerSlam, and then we'll get a rematch at Clash of the Castle.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So we have Usos. Nick says Usos. Andy says possibly Street Profits. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, go with that. Next up, it is the Smackdown Women's Tag Team Championship, which Andy was just talking about. We get Ronda Rousey. Andy's gone. He'll be back in a bit. Ronda Rousey taking on Natalya. Now, when this match was first announced, I was with Andy and I groaned. I was like, come on. I am not a fan of Natalya. I've never been shy about it. Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead. Whatever you have to say about it. Let's hear it.
There is precedent for this match taking place for super nerds. Right? I'm not a fan of Nadie as much as anybody else, but there is precedent for this taking place because Natalya trained her.
Yeah.
Right? So this is a case of they're going to run the whole student versus the master, Obi-Wan versus Vader storyline. Just not incredibly well done because it's Natalya.
Did they, before you go any further, didn't they do, because they had a match during Ronda's first run, didn't they? I think they ran something similar to that. Because they haven't really touched on that this time that I've seen. I don't watch SmackDown every week, so I don't know. But I do like the work Natalya has done on Twitter. And I know everyone can complain about the Twitter thing, but that's where Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey's beef originally began, and it turned into something awesome. I don't think we're ever going to get WWE fully behind Natalya in that same sense, so that, unfortunately for her, that sucks. But if you haven't seen Natalya dragging Ronda on Twitter, I highly suggest you go check out her tweets because she's burning Ronda like bad. Like it's very bad to the point where on that last segment in which Natalya came out with the baby stroller and all that, and then Ronda came out, did her number, it almost seemed like WWE told Natalya, don't retaliate, don't even say anything back to her, because they were in fear of what Natalya was going to do to Ronda on that microphone, because we all know Ronda is on the mic.
So is Natalya.
Yes, but, and as I said, I'm usually not a fan. I think she has done great with the things she's been given with this feud. It's a shitty feud. I'm not gonna get her anything around that. It's a shitty feud. But I really push you guys to check out the tweet she sent to Ronda.
I'll have a look.
They are brilliant. She does not hold back on her at all. Andy is not sold on this.
In the nicest possible way, I don't want to be the tweet. She's an idiot. And she's a prime example of getting somewhere with no talent in her name.
I will say, I think she's not a bad wrestler. I think she's one of the better. I don't know.
Bell to bell,
I don't know what to say here. She's clean with her wrestling. She's a lot cleaner than most of the girls.
She does about 4 moves.
It works for some people. And when Rhea Ripley came back to the main roster, it was Natalya that was finally able to break her string of bad matches. She has chemistry with people. I know people aren't a fan of Natalya, and this is a hard sell. I know it's a hard sell, but I was going to try, damn it.
Discus clothesline. Punches to the head.
Worst discus clothesline in wrestling. Pirouette, stop, wait a second, clothesline. But
So
it's pointless. There's no momentum there.
Do you guys have anything to add to it there?
Ronda's going to win.
Ronda's going to win. What about you, Nick? You clearly think Ronda's going to win. Yeah.
Ronda's definitely going to win. It just depends on whether they let Natty get a shit in beforehand.
For the love of God, Ronda Rousey must win this match.
I'm going to go ahead and say this. I am no fan of Natalya. But I have enjoyed what she's done so much on Twitter on Ronda because I have such a dislike for Ronda. If Natalya was to walk out of this match with the Smackdown Women's Championship, which she won't, but if she did, I wouldn't be mad one bit. That's how.
I'm telling you now, right?
She's done.
My brand new £1,500 laptop is getting delivered tomorrow for Money in the Bank, right?
You'll have to order another one.
I will need insurance and order a new one if that absolute leech wins the title.
I just know the SmackDown Women's division. Would you both agree is in shambles right now? It sucks.
Yes, it's terrible.
Shake it up. I know Natalya's not the person you want to shake things up with, but Ronda's the biggest problem in my opinion. The whole thing. Get it off.
Yeah, you've got Rafael Gonzalez doing there, and you've got Natalya in it.
You can't give Raquel the big spot like that soon, though.
I know.
Now, would you rather have seen Raquel in the Money in the Bank or Natalya?
Raquel.
There you go. That's why Raquel is not in this match. But so clean sweep. Well, Ronda wins. I don't think. Again,
Ronda wins.
If Natalya wins, though, I'm gonna laugh so fucking hard.
If it was my choice, I would have bought Moppy out of retirement.
What?
Anyway, we'll move on. We'll move on. We get Bianca Belair versus Carmella for the Raw Women's Championship. Was supposed to be a Rhea Ripley injury. Carmella steps in. What do you think of the job that Carmella has done stepping in on such short notice here, Andy?
Carmella is Mrs. Reliable, right? She really, really is. She will step up. She does a good job. I think she's very underrated in ring. And I think them two have got the potential to have a really, really good match.
Absolutely. And anybody who hasn't seen Carmella's promo that she cut on Raw this past week, it's brilliant. And it's almost like a shoot. She's let people know, hey, you can discredit me all you want because of my looks, because I dance, because I do this, because I do that. But when it comes down to it, she always steps up. She always shows out. And as Andy pointed, she's reliable. She is one of the most reliable ones they have on that roster. I don't think she gets the love she deserves.
Mella delivers every single time she gets a match.
Were you shocked that they had Carmella step in and win that 5-way match to get the match against Bianca? No. You weren't shocked? Okay.
No. I think people who are shocked are the ones that look at Carmella as though she's just a face and she doesn't do nothing. I see Carmella as a really solid option and someone that you can rely on to deliver when you need it most.
Were either of you fearful at all, though, that they were just going to kind of shove Becky Lynch back into that spot just to fill in because Rhea was hurt?
No, because Becky was already in the Money in the Bank. Becky was already in the Money in the Bank mix.
She wasn't.
I know she wasn't in. Oh, she
No,
wasn't in the match.
she
Did that?
had a qualifying match against Asuka and she lost, so she wasn't anywhere in it at all.
Yeah, she won the last chance one, didn't she?
Yeah.
Right.
So no, I didn't. I think this has got the potential to be a really good match.
Absolutely. It's the match we should have got at SummerSlam last year when Sasha backed out, but Becky came in and took over. So, and I think this is the second time Carmella has stepped up in a spot like this against Bianca, because I think she did with Bayley last year as well.
Yeah,
if
she
I
did.
remember correctly, and it was a decent feud. So yeah, I'm glad we're all in agreement on the Carmella being inserted here.
Yeah.
She gets way more hate than she deserves.
Absolutely, but she plays a heel character. She does it well. She gets hate. That's what I'll look at it as. She's just very good at making people hate her. So good on her. With that, does anybody see Bianca losing her title here tonight?
Hell no. Hell no. Carmella I like, but Bianca's a different kettle of fish.
I mean,
That
one
woman-
thing I'd say to you is, if Bianca was injured or she's needed to write it off, tell you, be a good solid person to put the belt on for a while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she can carry a segment. She's one of those people. She can do that. She's very entertaining.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always the wrestling ideology that the replacement always wins, but I don't see that happening in this case.
No.
Bianca's on a massive hot streak at the moment, and I don't think they're going to cool her jets yet.
So just to stretch this one out a little bit longer, do we see Rhea Ripley returning in time for SummerSlam to get this match? Which I thought the Bianca.
What's she injured with?
I think it was
Brain injury, apparently.
She need herself in the head during.
Yeah,
the
she'll be back. She'll be back by then.
Because I originally thought Rhea versus Bianca should happen at SummerSlam. I was disappointed they put it on Money in the Bank. So, silver lining here, it's going to happen hopefully that way. And it's a much better show for that level of a match anyway. You have the top girls outside of the Four Horsewomen. So, I'm looking forward to that one. Yeah, Carmella, no way she wins here. I do hope she gets time to shine, though, and she puts up a good match. No reason to think she won't, though. So,
with there only being 6 matches on the card, you think they're going to give it at least 20 minutes?
I can see that.
I think their styles will mesh well. Honestly, do.
Yeah.
Power versus speed.
Yeah, and athleticism, flexibility.
So, with those 4 matches out of the way, I think my only complaint there is there's just predictable. It's a lot of predictability in those first 4 matches. But now we can throw that right out the damn window because we are at the Money in the Bank ladder matches, in which this might be the first time in a while that I'm completely I don't know who's winning either one of these matches. And
I got an idea.
Exactly what I want going into these, kind of like with the Royal Rumble. I don't want to have a clue. I want to be able to watch it, see everything unfold, and just be like, whoa, and react accordingly as things happen.
If Riddle doesn't win this Money in the Bank, there is something wrong with the fucking universe.
Yeah.
So with
It's
that,
gonna be
before we get into either of them, are you more excited for one over the other? Are you excited for both?
I'm looking forward to both matches.
I'll admit, I'm sorry, just go on there.
I think the field for both matches is really strong this year, as you were saying, which layers that level of unpredictability for us. And they've built both of them about equally per show. There's not been one that's been presented more than the other, so I think there's decent balance this year. I'm looking forward to both.
And Andy?
I'm looking forward. I'm excited for the men's because I want my man to win it. Obviously, but as for the what's his name? Sorry, hear me guys. As for the women's one, I'm more excited for that in a way because I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. So we'll just jump. I'm more excited for the women's because with the men, I feel like I've narrowed it down to 3 winners who could win it.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 I think just automatically are they are in the running for it. The other ones I don't think stand a chance. But with the women's, I'm looking at the card and I'm looking at only one of these women I don't see winning it, and that's Becky Lynch, the biggest name in it. So that's what I really enjoy most about it. So we'll just jump into that one first. You have Lacey Evans, Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss, Raquel Rodriguez, Asuka, Shotzi, and Becky Lynch all vying for that briefcase.
And there's no vacancies there. No, that's all filled, isn't it, the
Nope,
ladies?
that one's completely
Yeah.
full. There's no, unless they add just an extra spot tonight. But that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's seven in it, and 7 was the
Yeah,
number.
I'll level with you, mate. I was terrified that Charlotte was going to return.
I saw someone say something about that the other day, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
But we have those 7 women. How do you feel about this list of women for this match? Seeing as how the only, again, big name is Becky Lynch, and nobody sees her winning this. So
yeah, I really hope that WWE don't go down the route of putting it on Becky because people don't see her winning it. I think that would be an absolute missed opportunity. I'm excited for all the rest of the girls in it. The only one I'm not is, and this is going to sound sad because I want to be, is Alexa Bliss because she's won it before. And she's done it before. But at this moment in time in her career, I feel like she could do with the push. So I'd be a bit sad on the other guys because I feel like we've been there before with Alexa. But if she did win it,
Oscar.
It wouldn't. Yeah, same with Oscar. But I feel like Liv, Shotzi, Raquel, how much of a rocket would that strap to them and how much change would it give them?
I'll agree with you on the Alexa thing. I think she's been out of the main event scene for far too long. I think people tend to forget that she kind of carried the women's main event scene there for a while if it wasn't a 4 horseman, and she did it beautifully. She was great in her position. So I wouldn't be mad seeing her win. Nick, if you had a favorite coming into this match, who do you think could benefit the most with this briefcase?
Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan has had a tremendous run over the last 6 months. She's improved by leaps and bounds in the ring and on the microphone. She's here from breaking through to being considered a proper contender for the titles. And I think this briefcase would really, really shoot her past that glass ceiling.
Do you think with the briefcase, she cashes in, she wins the title, do you think that cements her in the main event scene? Do you think that's what's missing from her whole package that keeps her away from it? Or do you think that there might be something else holding her back and this is the only way to get her there?
I think it's unfortunately from column B in that case. I think Liv is missing whatever it takes to get there without the briefcase. And I think the briefcase is literally the final piece of her puzzle. Or at least it could be the final piece of her puzzle that will allow her to break through to that level. But to be honest, it's very difficult seeing any of them successfully cash in on a short time basis. I think whoever wins the women's Money in the Bank this year is going to hold it for quite some time before they cash in. We're not going to have what they've done with the last 3 women's Money in the Banks where they just instantly cash in on the night or the next night. I think they're actually going to use the briefcase this time to try and build a start.
Okay, and Andy, of the 6 women, not Becky Lynch, who do you think probably doesn't need this briefcase? Who would, I guess, almost waste the opportunity with the briefcase the most?
Alexa, Oscar.
Okay.
I feel like with the women's division lacking so much, I think having somebody like Oscar with it and not be able to with the briefcase. No disrespect intended to it, but I feel like you need someone who's got a good promo to carry that briefcase, or somebody like Raquel Rodriguez, who's a very credible threat. Now, I want to ask you something, Jim, with this as well. Yeah, is last year one of my big gripes was they had the Money in the Bank women's match after the women's title matches.
Yeah.
Now, would you put that on before the women's title matches this year, so there's a credible threat that somebody could cash in after the fact?
I'm opening the show with the women's ladder match. That way, you have 2 women's title matches afterwards, and it's there because we saw when Alexa won it, she immediately cashed in that night. It was one of my favorite cash-ins of all time. I didn't see it coming, and it was just fun and awesome. So, last year they missed the opportunity. I don't think they do that again. I think that's definitely how I open the show. You open with one, you close with the other. You don't have a title match on this card, so that can main event. And it's okay.
And I think with the men's as well, isn't it? There's no credible threat of anybody cashing in because there's no championship match on there. So
yeah. That's why you closed the show with that. So now we go to the winners. Nick, who do you see winning this match?
I'm going to stick to my guns and go with Liv Morgan.
Okay. Andy?
Can I pick two?
You can pick your main one, and you can pick one you wouldn't be surprised if they won.
Okay, so my main one's Liv Morgan, and I wouldn't be surprised if Raquel won it.
Okay.
Neither would I.
Okay. We got Andy. Hi from Gregor John.
Yo, Gregor John.
I'm going to go ahead and go with Shotzi here. I think Shotzi, again, I think the SmackDown Women's Division needs to be shaken up completely because it's just boring and stale and crap right now. And a lot of that has to do with Ronda being champion. With Ronda as champion, there's no threat. There's nobody I see on that roster. I'm like, Ronda's going to lose to this person. You put the briefcase on Shotzi, she could take advantage of something, have Becky Lynch involved somehow so that you get the Ronda Becky Lynch thing going, and then Shotzi wins the title and just goes on her own thing. That's how I think they could do it. That's how I would probably do it. I'm not in charge though, but that's why I'm taking Shotzi. You got to give these new people a chance. That's what I say. You have to give them a chance. You can't give it to Becky. You can't.
You can't give it to Becky.
So, time for the main event, which I'm assuming will be the main event. The men's Money in the Bank ladder match. We have Seth freaking Rollins versus Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre versus Omos. I roll here. Sami Zayn, Riddle, and a mystery man to be named. I'm guessing tonight, maybe tomorrow before the show. We will see. So the obvious question, let's get it out of the way. Nick, who do you think the mystery man will be?
You see, before we found out he was getting surgery, I would have said Randy Orton. But in all honesty, right now, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. The only one that's digging to me is Theory.
You think they put Theory in after a match?
Yeah.
Like, I could see if he lost the United States title match and being inserted into it. I could definitely see that, but
yeah,
we don't see him losing, so I couldn't see Theory.
Honestly, I'm not sure.
Andy, any guesses here?
So my one is, I feel like it'll be Gunter. Would be an outside chance. Because I feel like he could really be like that menacing character with the belt, but with the briefcase, kind of coming out and just standing on the stage and staring at people. That's one. The one that I really hope it isn't, but there's something inside me that's really like, oh no, is John Cena. And then John Cena does his loyalty and all the rest of the shit that he does. And I mean, don't be wrong, I like John Cena. It's not that I'm dissing John Cena there.
With you.
And then turns around and goes, I am going to challenge Roman Reigns at SummerSlam for the title.
No. Back-to-back SummerSlams with Roman and John Cena.
Yeah.
We got Zayn.
Better than Roman and Brock.
He thinks Edge will be the Money in the Bank mystery man, and then he says Drew wins and then beats Roman at Clash at the Castle. He's already got the match at Clash at the Castle, so I don't see Drew coming anywhere close to winning this thing. My only theory here is, if it's not a surprise, is they were supposed to Kevin Owens versus Ezekiel on Raw to see who would get the spot, and it got canceled. I'm assuming Kevin Owens had stuff pop up. Is that they do this match on SmackDown, and then the winner still goes on. If they do that, which of those two would you rather see in this match?
Kevin Owens.
the man who's going to kill himself.
Yeah.
Because with how star-studded this match is, it might be the most stacked one I've seen that I can remember off the top of my head. Adding Kevin Owens to it just blows my mind completely. That would be nuts.
It's just that little sprinkle, isn't it?
Yeah. But then it also alters who I want to win. So I'm hoping that's not who goes in it, because then it just kind of hurts my chances of being right here again. So I want to be right. I don't think Kevin Owens is the man. I'm not sure who it is, though. I've seen some crazy theories.
What do you mean? You don't know who it is?
I don't know who it is.
It's your job, Jim. You're supposed to know who it is.
I'll give you the craziest theory I've seen on it. Is MJF is the mystery man. I will say.
Can you imagine? What if it's Cody?
I don't know. I've thought about this as well, but no.
It can't be, surely.
I think I think even if Cody was fit and healthy to do it, I feel like it's too soon. I feel like you need to milk this kind of one Cody back kind of thing.
I'd agree with that.
Okay.
Absence
So
makes the heart grow fonder and all.
we'll go on to the next question here.
Sorry, guys, can I just ask one more as well? Has anybody thought about Big E?
Oh,
now, he had the
surely
neck
he's
taken
not
off like
due
a month
back
ago. I don't know if
I know, but he's been putting all stuff on social media and moving and doing all sorts. He's a big athlete. It wouldn't take him long to get fit.
Yeah, but do you want to put someone who had that kind of injury, his first match back, in this? That's my only hesitation.
If you've got all that star-studded power around you and all that experience in that match, would you not want to put him in that match where a lot of it, rather than put him in a one-on-one match where it's all focused on him, in a match like this where he can blend away?
It's possible.
It's a big risk putting him in a ladder match for his first match back, though.
I just think something could go wrong for him, and I don't think you put him in that soon.
Right, guys, let's go to the winner. And you two know there's only one winner of this match.
Right. I'll annoy Andy first.
Hold on.
As much as I want Riddle to... Hang on.
You thought MJF was going to show up and cancel the whole show, Zayn, so you can shut up.
Exactly. So shut up, Zayn.
Andy, Nick, go ahead. Who do you think is winning this match?
As much as I want Riddle to win this match, and I do want Riddle to win this match, it's going to be Seth, isn't it?
Don't you dare.
Sorry, dude, I'm picking Seth. Right? Because I think Seth's going to screw Riddle out at the end. Because they're setting up a Seth versus Riddle feud. The only other... And I think it's going to be Seth versus Riddle at SummerSlam for the briefcase.
Or would it not be better if Riddle won the briefcase and Seth is the jealous maniac kind of character that suits him?
Oh yeah, I think that'd be much better in the long run, but I also think WWE have long-term plans for Seth and Cody, and I think that involves Seth getting one of those belts off Roman before the Royal Rumble next year. So I am picking Seth. As much as I want Riddle to win this match, sorry Andy, I do. I want Riddle to win more than anything. I am picking Seth freaking Rollins.
So Andy, go ahead and get it out of your system. We know who it is. Get
your... Bro, in the bank. It's not just what the people want. It's what the WWE bank account wants. The merchandise sellers want. It's there. It writes itself.
I would have to get a Bro in the Bank briefcase if it won.
If he fucking wins it, mate, I'm buying 10 of them.
Yeah.
And a t-shirt, and a fucking bandana, and whatever else they bring out with it on.
Zayn says Vince is the mystery guy. He's not going to miss an opportunity to show up at another show now, will he? And then he ends up winning it because if he can't be CEO, he's going to be champion. I'm all for it. Let's go, Vince. But realistically, as I said, I have three people who I think realistically could win this. One is Seth Rollins, as Nick said. I think the Cody Rhodes story is there. It's easy to tell. I also think it's too easy, and it doesn't need the briefcase for it to work, so I'm eliminating that one. I wouldn't be surprised if Seth won, though. Two, I've been on the Riddle bandwagon train. I think I started this bandwagon way back in the day. I fucking love Riddle. I've said he should be in this kind of position since I don't even remember. No, Zayn, I'm not even sharing it. I would be ecstatic to see Riddle reach that top, cash in that briefcase.
Shut up, Zayn.
There is so much that they can do with Riddle as the briefcase holder. There's so many ways you can go with it. And again, I'd probably be the most happy if Riddle won it. I'm with Andy on that one. I think we're the two-man fan club, president, vice president here. We love the man. I'd be ecstatic. Yeah. Celebrating afterwards. That's how ecstatic I would be. But just to be different from you guys, I'll go with my third viable option here, and it's Sami Zayn.
I knew you were going to say that.
Because the Bloodline storyline with him teasing the cash-in is too fucking good to not do. Especially when Roman is... You have so much centralized on Roman as far as storylines go. When he's at the show, pretty much half of SmackDown revolves around him. You include Sami Zayn with that, who Roman Reigns earlier this year stated in an interview, any way we can get Sami Zayn on TV more is a great thing. He's a big fan of Sami. I think he would love to do work with Sami. and I don't think he would mind putting him over in a cash-in situation.
Can you imagine the babyface they could produce in Sami Zayn if he wins that briefcase?
That is the halfway mark of the story that I created around Sami Zayn winning the Money in the Bank briefcase. It's brilliant, and as me and Andy pointed out before, when he lost his music, when that music came back, the babyface is just through the roofs.
Yeah. I'll admit I'd be heartbroken if Riddle doesn't win this, but if Sami Zayn wins it, it would basically stop me from being upset.
Yeah.
I think he's the only person that in that match that I could go, okay, I'm happy with this.
Yeah, because Sheamus, nobody thinks Sheamus is winning. It doesn't make sense.
Nope.
Drew McIntyre doesn't need it because he's already got his title shot. Who else? And then Omos. I swear to God, if they give it to Omos, I don't know what I'm going to do.
If they give it to Omos, it breaks Money in the Bank.
Fear for me, people, because I really don't know what I would do if Omos won that title or the briefcase. The mystery man, I think it all depends on the mystery man as well. I don't like mystery people winning things like this, just showing up and winning. I think it sucks for everyone else that built the match up and did all the work. But if they could give me a good one,
just don't let it be Brock Lesnar.
Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Oh,
I don't think I would be mad at all.
If it's MJF, I will come out of my seat tomorrow night.
That's clearly a pipe dream, though.
I think I'll be screaming at me.
Yeah, that's clearly a pipe dream, not happening. So, in order, Riddle is obviously the one I want to win the most. Sami at second, Seth at third. None of the other ones need to win it. But that's the show. I'm very excited for Money in the Bank. I think WWE has been on a run here since WrestleMania. WrestleMania was awesome. Backlash, Hell in a Cell, great shows. Money in the Bank, no different here.
I think what the good thing is, sorry to cut you off, Jim, the two shows since WrestleMania, they focused on the wrestling aspects and stuff. Where this one now, the storylines are starting to come back, and I like the way they're doing this, and I hope they keep on doing it.
Absolutely, and they've also given the matches time to do the wrestling as well, so you're clearly more invested, and that is professional wrestling 101. It's that simple. Get us invested, give us a great match, great show, and that's what we look to be in. It's what it looks like we're getting. Sorry, I'm tripping over my words. But thank you all for joining us for the show. We will be back tomorrow for the watch along. It will be WrestleBuddy Nick, El Capitan. I should be dropping in and out, so you'll see that. You will not want to miss my reaction for the Money in the Bank men's ladder match winner.
No, we will not.
I could either cry tears and throw myself through a window, or I might just.
I am either going to be ecstatically happy or ecstatically angry.
Yes. If you saw my reaction at night or day one, it'll top that one for sure. So
I will be there.
Awesome.
Okay, Andy will be there as well. So there you go. You have a crew to watch this along with. It'll be fun. The card looks good. The ladder matches will be awesome as always. If you haven't, check out Andy's new show. That was yesterday.
NXT UK, but
today is Friday. Okay, NXT UK. There we go.
We didn't actually record yesterday because I had a few technical issues, as you can probably tell by what I'm up to now. But we will be back next week with it, guys.
Yes, just tune in for sure. Like I say, Andy is much better at breaking down the matches than I am. So
Definitely not.
Check it out. And as always, watch my shows as well because I'm begging you, please do it.
And fucking subscribe to the channel.
Yeah.
Subscribe.
Yeah. I want to
share.
Subscription
and
numbers
hit that
go up.
notification bell.
I have a bunch of prizes that I'm dying to give away, but if we're not getting subscriptions, I'm not giving anything away. And I'm talking, I have 2 boxfuls of things I want to give away, people. So start subscribing so we can start doing these giveaways. How about that? Share our content because it's good stuff. Hey, we're not hating on stuff. We're good people, man. Watch the show.
We just love wrestling.
Yeah, if you love wrestling, you should love WrestleBuddy. That's how I say it. But with that, thank you all for joining me. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Andy, for joining us. Glad you're back, Andy. We missed you last week for both shows.
We did.
So much smoother this week. So with that, it is time for the wave while I find this stuff. There we go. Goodbye. The boom. Later. Didn't work.